Everyone needs a space or a time where they can clear their heads, recharge their spirits, and put themselves first. It takes commitment to do what you need to do to get out the door and make the time. For these women, that time is a precious 2 hours on Thursday nights when they ride the trails and leave their worries in the dust. These are the Dirt Chix.
My name is Debbie Marasco, and I'm an original Dirt Chick.
My name's Dana Heyman, and I am an original Dirt Chick.
My name is Sheena Moticato. I'm an original Dirt Chick. So we knew each other through our husbands. So we were all riding with them a little bit at the start, but it was so frustrating because they were so far ahead of us.
And we thought, well, why don't we just ride together and make our own little group and try to get out on the trails so we're not so intimidated by our husbands who are going off drops. We were learning how to ride, so there was less pressure.
When we first started, it was the four of us, and we got 4 jerseys made up because we thought that would be,
It would make it
funny.
official.
And we started to ride, and because we were wearing these 4 matching jerseys, people stopped us on the trail, mostly men, and said, what is this about? And we'd say, we're the Dirt Chicks. And usually the next question was, can my wife ride with you? And so that's how it started to grow. We gathered these women every week, and we just sent an email, yeah, we're riding at this location, and here we are 15 years later, and we're still doing the same thing. We have over 160 ladies on the email this year. We had, I think, 80 on our first ride this season in April.
My name's Catherine Pendrell, and I am a 2-time world champion and an Olympic medalist in cross-country mountain biking. Seeing what the Dirt Chix has done has been absolutely amazing. You see 60 to 80 women showing up for a ride. You know it's a need that needed to be filled in our community, and it takes special people to do that kind of event and make it as popular as it is.
We have, I think, 16 ride hosts now. They each have their own riding style and their own special way of leading people. Bottom line is they're all volunteers. They've all started as a member and agreed to lead and sweep beginner riders up to advanced riders. We need them all. We couldn't run the group without more hosts.
It's a big responsibility because you can make or break this woman's experience. Like, you can take them on this epic, huge ride and destroy them and they'll never come back. Or you can be a little more gentle with introduction to trails and kind of explaining little things and stopping and sessioning little bits, even if it's just a little tiny downhill to put their seat down and proper body posture and everything else, because you are going to make their ride awesome and then they're going to come back.
I heard about Dirt Chix through the Facebook page, so moved down here from Dawson Creek, bought a mountain bike, and thought, well, I don't really want to ride my bike by myself because I had young kids, and so my husband and I couldn't really ride together, we realized, because our kids were too little to leave at home alone. So yeah, I looked up on Facebook and like, surely there's a Facebook group of ladies who ride, and found Dirt Chix and sent Dana an email, and yeah, the rest is history.
I was out on the trails and there was a lot of women riding together, and I was like, oh wow, that's a big group. As I'm running by or biking by, and I'm like, wow, where do these people come from?
Bought a bike because I wanted to get into biking. I always enjoyed mountain biking. Had nobody to ride with, and Brad mentioned that his wife headed up this group called the Dirt Chix, so I got a little card and emailed, and yeah, that was it.
I was a rider for my first couple years, and then I became a host. Dad asked if I'd be interested in helping out, and I said, sure.
time is rarely something we just find laying around. We don't find it, we make it.
My spouse is also a biker, and we talked a lot before she was born about how we still wanted to be able to be out riding, whether it's together or not. So even before I thought I was ready, or when I was like, oh, I'm tired, he's like literally kicks me out of the house and says, no, I've got her, we're good. Her and I will just hang out and off you go.
Oh, it's hard. Working full time, juggling, just running a household.
For me, it's actually really tough to schedule in the rides because my family does BMX racing as well, and BMX races are on Thursday nights. Oh. So I have to not go to the race and not watch my kids, so it's kind of...
That can be a struggle.
Yeah.
There is a bit of guilt sometimes because, you know, it's so important to you, but some people don't really understand and they want you to do something else, but you know that all the other girls are going to be there, and so it's a commitment and you just do it.
But it is a lot harder, especially for those women who haven't really figured out yet that this is the thing that floats their boat.
And they've got kids that, you know, they have to have dinner on the table at 6, so to speak, or
they had to borrow a bike.
Yeah, the husband's coming home and they get to the point where it's like, okay, Thursday night, you take care of them because I'm going to this Dirt Chix thing.
I used to do everything for my family. It was all about them. And then I took a change, and now it's more about me. I would just say to them, I'm riding, dinner's gonna be late, and they've had to get used to my schedule, and they've been really good about it, but it was a little bit hard at first. Instead of being selfless, I have a self left in me. So I'm making myself important now.
We're branching out as women into putting ourselves first. And I don't think like traditionally we've done that, and it's kind of cool to see that many moms and girls out there putting themselves first, because I think we're better off at all those other things that we do.
It's something that you dedicate the time to, and you need to kind of just put in your schedule and just go.
Don't even ask, because it's Dirt Chix night.
Everyone says, you know, you have to exercise for your health and things, but it is true, and it's a mental health thing as well.
I make the time.
I make the time too. It's not an option. I can be having the most hellish week in the world at work, but I'm there on Thursday night.
That's what Thursday nights are for.
I even missed my dad's birthday dinner.
You did?
This Thursday, yeah. I made it for cake.
It's just something good for my soul almost, to just be outside, get a workout, hang out with, you know, these girls who are, yeah, like our closest friends now. It's just such like a cherished time to be able to be with them.
For me, the me time means that I can put all the struggles of the day behind me.
My day in the world disappears as soon as I do the first pedal. Instantly, you have to focus on what you're doing and you're experiencing in the moment. And that's probably a big part of the therapeutic part.
It's exhilarating, like
blissful.
Yeah, you all of a sudden you have all this baggage on your back, like the monkeys on your back from the day, and it's like that first big long climb. You get to the top, you're like, oh, you can just take like a deep breath. Because you have to, you're labored.
And also, it's not an option. Yeah.
Come on.
Holy when does it end? Where's the flat?
Come on. Come on. Hi! Yay! It's so beautiful. It's beautiful. It is beautiful. Oh my God. It is gorgeous.
Even though you know that there's going to be a huge climb involved in a lot of work, you feel like a better mother too, having time for yourself.
I will say that now that I can't ride on Thursdays, that it's like you really realize how important it is to be able to get out and have those rides and have that night, and when you can't do it, it's really crummy. So to try to figure out how to fill that void now is tough.
You know, take care of yourself. And we teach our kids that, and then as adults, we forget.
Especially as mothers.
As mothers, you want your kids, so it's every Canadian kid's rite of passage to learn to swim and learn to bike. And then when you get to be an adult, you forget that that's still important.
You become that kid again.
It brings out the kid in you.
Doesn't
for
matter
sure.
if you're
That's-
50.
That's exactly.
You feel like you're 5. You see that in the grins and the laughter and the giggling that goes on when you're riding.
Look, everyone starts somewhere. It's okay to be a beginner.
There's so many women out there that want to ride and they don't know where to start. And the Dirt Chix is so accepting at any level. And there's a lot of beginners.
People having little crashes and just getting up and wiping themselves off and continuing on.
And then coming back next week, mountain biking, you're gonna fall at some point in time. You just are. It doesn't matter if you're aggressive or you're just a very, docile rider, very tentative, you're gonna have a little spill. All of us have had them. I think probably just about everybody has had them.
When some of them fall down and you look and they're bleeding down their arm and you're like, you're fine. And they're like, oh yeah, and then they keep on riding and they don't like sit there and go, I gotta walk my bike out of here. They're not upset. They're just like, oh yeah, I'll be okay. And some of the cuts they had, I was like, ooh, that could need stitches. But we're not gonna talk about that. We're just gonna stick a Band-Aid on it. This lady kept on bleeding and bleeding, and we had run out of Band-Aids for her, and then somebody said, I have a maxi pad. So we stuck the maxi pad on her, and we're like, you're fine. She's like, oh yeah, I'll be good.
And because they're younger than us, it doesn't hurt as much.
That's right.
They bounce. One of our girls, Sam, it's her first year with us this year. She came out and she's just a trooper. And the first night we rode, I was riding right behind her. She must have wiped out 15 times. I told her at one point, Sam, you fall like a 9-year-old boy. She gets up, she dusts her knees off, and she goes on and gets on that bike again. She was willing to just go for it.
I had no idea what to expect when I came out with the Dirt Chix. I hadn't ridden a bike in 3 years, and then I come out here, I got my bike, I went out for my first ride, and we had just moved out here, so we'd only been here for a couple of months. I didn't know anybody, I didn't know any of the neighborhoods, I didn't even know where Batch was. I had to Google map it. And then I come out here and there's this massive group of girls standing with their mountain bikes, and the first time that I was there, I must have lucked out because it was a day that Cheryl was doing a little skills thing right before the ride.
My number one thing, always, always, always level pedals. Standing up, always standing up. Do not sit down. And especially a lot of the newer riders, a lot of you guys don't even have full suspension, so I don't know why you're sitting. It's really unpleasant on the vagina. Always standing up. Fingers always hovering on the brakes. You don't have to be on the brakes all the time, but just have a finger out just to be ready. That's part of your ready position. Arms, nice and loose. Bend in the elbows. Knees, nice and loose. So we always do cowboy arms, cowboy knees. All right, I'm demonstrating the ready position. Got my fingers on the brakes, just hovering. All my weight in my feet, looking ahead. I want you guys to try to do a big circle. So a couple of us can just stand in certain places and just watch and maybe give you small tips about your body position.
So I hadn't known anything about mountain biking, and then Cheryl does this little foundational skills thing before we go, which I thought was a normal thing, but it's not. It just happened to be that one ride.
You lucked out.
I know. And then we got riding, and it was absolutely freaking awesome. I knew right away, this is totally my group. I totally belong here.
My name is Cheryl Beatty, and I've been a Dirt Chick for quite a long time. I was one of the earlier Dirt Chicks, and then I probably been riding with them for maybe 5 years. Oh, right. Also, I own the Bicycle Cafe. It is a bicycle store, and it doesn't serve coffee, so it's really confusing, but we serve bicycles. We've probably been pretty heavily involved with the Dirt Chicks for the past 4 or 5 years. We're just kind of their shop outlet where when we're organizing things, it can be here. We can just support them any way we can. We can support the riders and try to do tech clinics or skills clinics or just try to add value to the group.
We're gonna go over 3 basic areas tonight, like general areas. Bike fitting and setup, feeding and watering your bicycle. So just general cleaning and care and things like that that you should do to it. And then we're gonna give you 2 trailside skills, which I think are the most important: changing a flat, fixing a chain. So we're just gonna get Kim to backpedal her foot to the bottom here. We should just see a very gentle bend in her knee. So this is probably a little low. So we're just gonna raise it up a little. Just to be clear on seat height, you can have your own personal preference for sure. It's a general guideline that you want just a gentle bend. I think you can usually feel if your knee's too bent, you'll get really tired up here. If it's too straight, you're gonna start having pain under the knee. Suspension. Does everyone have full suspension? Not everyone? That's okay. We'll go over it because you'll get one day. A starting point of the type of air pressure, we generally ask you, how much do you weigh? Or wait, I say, what do you weigh, like 110? And you go, Often people wonder what these stupid weird rings are on their shocks. So it's actually a guideline for how much travel you're getting, and it kind of lets you know where you're at. If you're on a newer, fancy suspension bike, I would say you would want to be servicing the suspension once a season. You know, if it's a bike of this kind of quality, I always say, it's like you bought a Lamborghini. Would you change the oil?
The Dirt Chicks women, a lot of them are newer to cycling. They need information, they need products, they're incredibly loyal. I think because they are women and they're newer to cycling as well, maybe to sports, I think they're a lot more open to learning about the sport, about the technical side of the sport, about how to take care of their bikes.
Cleaning your bike. Does everyone clean their bike? Being very honest with you guys, there is a thing you can do, and it is over cleaning your bike. It's a phenomenon. And I know you love to make it look beautiful, but taking hoses and taking it to the car wash and washing it, you're really gonna wreck your bike. The problem with that kind of stuff and just washing so often is there's so many places that water can get into your bike. There is no places for the water to get back out. So unfortunately, all that water just sits in the bearings or in the seals, or I don't know, where else can it sit? Nooks and crannies, and it's rusting and wrecking your bike. So we can definitely tell you there is too much washing. So there's a few things you can definitely do that will make it a little easier on your bike. If you are hosing your bike off, you want to avoid certain areas as much as possible. So anywhere with those moving kind of things, you want to really avoid forcing water into. So what I would generally recommend in Kamloops, where we rarely have mud, just a nice cloth, wipe the dust off.
The Dirt Chicks are there for the social aspect, but they're also there to learn, and I think they really do focus on trying to improve their skills, and they really listen, and they really take a lot of what I say with them, and then the feedback's always really cool from those clinics. It's always like a, oh my God, you've changed my riding, it was amazing, you're the most amazing. We have a massive female clientele. I think I would say we possibly have more females than males as clientele. It's pretty exponential over the past few years.
Yeah. Everyone's asses looked amazing when you were going down the rock. It's all I could look at. Oh, dear God. I'm having fun.
Well, laughing is better than breathing really hard and suffering, I think. Like when you're laughing, it makes the whole
experience of suffering that much better sometimes.
You laugh through the pain.
Yeah.
You know, Kylene, she never shuts up the whole time she's riding. Like, I don't know how she does it. Down, around. Like, you know, you're going up the side of a mountain, you're gasping for breath, and she's just yucky.
We were riding up Harper, which is like kind of a miserable, long climb. And these two are having like a full-on job interview.
Like, how do these people talk at the same time as they ride?
That's good.
People are very positive. I mean, I think they can see how much fun we're having, right? I mean, it's...
And I think they're overwhelmed at times as to how many there is in batch, say, going along Lazy Boy, and it's a steady stream of 30 women, and some guy comes around the corner, he's like, whoa.
We are a very impressive sight.
We were all regrouping our group of women. There was probably 20, and there was a guy coming up the trail that we all ride, and he was pushing, and we're all kind of giggling. Of course, Debbie, she starts heckling him, and all the women are laughing. So, yeah, if you're a guy, you maybe don't want to encounter the chicks if you're riding weak that day, because you might get heckled.
Well, I gotta say, it's a pretty good feeling when you're pushing a guy up the hill or chasing him down. And they have to pull over, and they're like, oh, I got a cramp. Because, well, I've eaten a lot of dust over the years, and it's really fun to leave a little of my own.
For me, it's really neat to see this year's being really my first year of helping a bit more with the group and being with the beginners and giving them those tips and thinking, geez, you know, it wasn't that long ago that I was there, that I couldn't do that. And now it's nothing for me, and I'm, you know, helping them to learn how to do those things.
It's amazing to see. We rode at Harper, and I was like, this isn't a beginner trail, but you guys are doing really well, you know? And it's tough because they have to walk a little more, and you're not walking, but you're like, you know, you can really encourage them and kind of show them, and they really want to learn. They were like, oh, wow, you can ride that. Okay, let me try. And they may try a section a couple times and be like, oh, you know, when they finally get it, it's like this aha moment of like, oh, I get it. Or even as simple as shifting your gears into the right gear. Like, it's just something.
Yeah. Shifting, yeah, I remember learning myself. That's probably one of the hardest things is looking ahead, especially for the beginners. There's a hill coming up, better start shifting down now. Don't try and shift when you're
in
the hill on the pedals.
We were so green at the beginning that the smallest rock was a big obstacle at that point. I think back to when we started, I know I wasn't as brave as those girls that are coming out now.
I don't think so.
There's no way.
Maybe because we didn't have anybody holding our hand.
Tell me what you think about Luce.
Her hair.
This is awesome.
She's just lovely. What can we say?
She's lovely. She's more lovely than anyone, so.
Woo! My name is Luce, which rhymes with caboose because that is my position, is with the beginners. I am at the end. I am the sweep, the person at the back, the caboose on the train. That's me.
We have Luce, who's our beginner queen. She takes the beginners of the beginner.
There's so many awesome things about that position. So, I mean, partly I'm there for safety, right? I know those trails like the back of my hand, but most of the beginners don't. They're not gonna be left behind. I am there to make sure that they know where they're going, they're looked after, if they need help changing a tire, if they need an energy bar, if they need a word of encouragement, if they just need to know whether to go left or right on the trail, I'm there for that.
Because my knee injury, my right leg is quite a bit stronger than my left leg, so if we're doing extended climbs, my left leg just stops working and it gets really tiring really quickly, and she was there behind me. She's like, 10 more, just 10 more, just 10 more. And it really helped. It got me to the top of the hill without stopping, because I was really considering stopping.
I am there to take care of them, and they don't really need taking care of, but they don't know that sometimes, so I just want them to think about the riding.
I'm just gonna go really slowly and in control. I'm looking at the whole trail. I'm looking where I wanna go. I'm behind my seat a bit.
Luce will stop and jump off her bike like all the time.
Nice and clean, look at that. Woo! Yeah! Let your bike roll, look at the trail. You have got it. You less right brake, less right hand brake.
If she sees you struggling, she'll be like, nope, just wait, come back, let's redo that again. And she'll stand there and spot you. Many times she's tried to catch me as I go off the trail.
Neutral position, stand on your pedals if you can. All right, ride to the bottom. All right. Neutral position.
Sometimes I look at her and ride right into her, but she's like, that's okay, like, you can do it, you can do it. And she'll ride behind you sometimes, and especially when you're learning downhill, cueing and reminders, keep your head up, you know, telling you the technique and how to do it.
She would get off and show you how to do the little dip or the loop-de-loo, and then then the next person would go. And she gave like individual attention to everybody, and there was like nothing about being rushed and saying, okay, next.
I think it's just letting them know there's one more person right there at the scary spot who has them. I've got them. I've got you, right? That's that thing.
Pedal, yeah. And get your pedals level, and level your pedals a bit more.
It's okay, you want to try it again? Nope.
Yeah, come on, go back up.
Like standing and sticking your butt out a bit more.
Perfect like that. Perfect braking right there. Just maintain it. Just keep going. Maintain it.
It's a human being thing to wonder if you're keeping up with your tribe. For some reason, we do like to worry about what other people think. And a lot of time, there is actually no reason to worry about what other people think. So if I can ease that a little bit and point out that it's really just about the ride, she's out there riding, she's on her bike, she's making her wheels go round, she's already succeeding.
I think truly they inspire us. They're so brave.
Yeah, I don't think I would have joined a group and come out and started biking. I would have been too self-conscious to go out with a big group of people.
The Dirt Chicks are the most inspiring thing. It's the riders.
Yeah, I would totally agree with Luz. Absolutely, totally agree. It's just...
And us, we're pretty awesome.
Most days we are, yeah.
When we haven't crashed.
To see, like I said, to see that girl at the beginning that couldn't maybe make it up that little bit of a hill that now can, as the season progresses, or maybe go down a certain part. I remember being in that spot. I'm still in that spot lots of times. You know, when you conquer that little hill, be it up or down, you're just like, yes.
The beginners have the most to gain.
Yeah, they do.
And
really
they gain
do.
it so quickly.
Yeah.
And that really, that's when they go from I borrowed this bike from my kid to I bought a new bike.
I bought a new bike, yeah. Yeah, that's always...
And there's been a lot of that.
Yeah,
a lot of new
bikes. A lot of new bikes, yeah.
It's more rewarding, I think, for us than them sometimes. I think they're still in a little bit of shock that night that they did it. But the cheering and the camaraderie and the support from others and the clapping.
The other thing that's really cool is I'm fortunate I'm at home and I'm able to ride a lot during the day too, and I'll encounter groups of the chicks that probably, I don't think a lot of them knew each other before, and they're the beginner group and they're out there riding together and they're chatting and they're trying things, and it's cool to see that too outside the chicks, that they've made connections and they're getting out and they're progressing and trying things that maybe they rode the week before or a trail they never knew about.
Yeah, as soon as you see two beginners at a ride, and they're like, oh yeah, we rode earlier in the week with so-and-so and so-and-so that I met on this ride. And it's just like, okay, yeah.
It's working.
It's inside you now.
Yeah, yeah, you're hooked.
A fear conquered, a hill climbed, every ride brings with it new inspiration.
When beginners attempt something that they don't think they can do, and then you get to the bottom and everybody's cheering, that.
I'm inspired by women who have babies and come and still ride. Like after, we have a friend who doesn't ride with the Dirt Chicks regularly, but she had a cesarean section and she was riding her bike in 3 weeks, and because it was so important to her. And we've had quite a few women who they've gone through marriage breakups, having children move out of the house, illness, with either themselves or their parents. And it all usually comes out at some point on the trail, and there's always that supportive shoulder.
I think Sheena inspires me so much. Because after she was diagnosed with lupus, she still gets on her bike and she rides every day, and it's -20 and she rides that bike every day, and she comes out to the Dirt Chix. You inspire me, Sheena. I can't, cry about little things in my life or worries. When she gets out there on her bike every day, I think, you gotta let things go. You gotta let all the little stuff go. When you're dealing with an illness that's affecting your whole body, and you're in pain and you don't want to get on that bike, and she does every single day, and she rides to work and she rides home in the cold and on hot days.
We also have another chick who couldn't be here, who's a very good friend. And she has serious health issues too. And she was going through a really tough time, just had her health diagnosis, and the Chix really was, I think, a saving grace for her.
Everyone's so positive. Everybody is just always encouraging each other, be it if you're, a host encouraging a beginner to being in the intermediate group, and I'm sure even in the green groups, those guys are always encouraging each other to go faster and higher, so to speak, right? It's always positive.
I think too, it's a bit of a stereotype, but a bit of true, right? That as women, we're allowed to express our emotions much more than men are, which men should be able to. But I think people, it is that comfortable thing to say, I'm having a not very good day. And then everybody can be supportive of that. And then you get on your bike and your not very good day gets better. But also to say, oh, I'm scared to go down that hill. And, they can just say that, it's okay. And then then they go down the hill.
Having just moved here and not having any connections, we don't have any friends or family or anything like that here. And my partner works out of town, so he's not here very often. So I think that being part of this group has been hugely instrumental in me feeling like I'm at home here, feeling like I'm a part of something, like I'm a part of the community. And that alone is therapeutic. That alone is, I don't know, I can't imagine having moved here and not being part of this group, not being
we're not doing
part
those
of
types of activities, right?
Being connected with other people who are into the same stuff and are just as supportive and excited about what I'm doing as I am.
Yeah, and the mountain biking community in Kamloops is big, and it's beyond kind of the wall of the Dirt Chix, right? So once you can learn to ride, you meet friends who have friends, and then that's what you're planning to do.
We were just exchanging numbers beforehand too. We're like, okay, so I want to ride more than once a week, so can I get your digits so we can coordinate something?
And it's just amazing how easy it is to quickly make friends and make new contacts when we've got lots of riders that come and they're new to town, and they come to a bike shop and they say, where they start with, where are the trails, and then it comes to, anybody to ride with, and they're directed to us, and we take them in, and they meet people, people they work with or in related fields or have the same age kids. And it just goes from there, and it's an instant network, and the husbands as well. I mean, we have some really good friends that have met through the Dirt Chix and hosting Dirt Chix. The husbands are now friends, and we've created a social circle, and it all stems from women on bikes. You're just hanging on to my bike. There you go, Wendy. See the sunset?
The Purple Ribbon Ride was in honor of our past rider friend, Wendy Lahar. Wendy actually started riding the same time I did with the Dirt Chix. And in her memory, we place ribbons on places we think that she would really appreciate going.
Come on, Dana.
I don't think I can.
Yes, you can.
She fit in right away. And it was sort of the first experience of someone that we didn't already know a little bit, either through someone or through a husband, a friend of a husband's or something. Like there was some connection before that. And it just seemed like, wow, this is really cool that someone who is totally unrelated, either professionally or age-wise or even where we're at in our lives, that could come out and we'd still have so much fun with her. She just was so vibrant and young-looking and so eager, comfortable coming into a group. Like, I can't imagine if I was the one coming in 15 years younger and coming into a group that had been riding together for a few years, to come in with that much confidence.
We do one memorial ride for her every year, and we have to explain to the new members what this is about. With the purple ribbon, we tie one on our bike, and the idea is when you're out in the trail and you're having a great ride, or there's a view that inspires you, or a great spot, you know, to have a rest or a tailgater or something, you leave a ribbon. You take it off your bike and you put it on the tree or the branch or something like that and leave it for Wendy.
Yeah, her ribbon's been placed like...
It's all over.
All over. Like, I think there's one in Golden.
There's some down in the States and
Revelstoke.
In Vermeer.
Yeah,
yeah. She's all
everywhere.
Over.
She's everywhere in the riding world.
You know, you don't just want to put that ribbon on anything, so I'm waiting for this grandiose experience where I've had lots of really good things, but it's not purple ribbon worthy yet, so I'm waiting for that opportunity to really honor, you know, Wendy and that whole experience, and I'm hoping that throughout, you know, this season I'll find something that now I'll know this is the moment to put the ribbon.
There's lots of stories about Wendy. One funny one was in one of the bike shops, there was this baby pink helmet, and most of us had seen it as we're cruising around the shop. They're like, no one's gonna buy that helmet, no one. And then the next ride, Wendy turns up riding a helmet. And it was perfect for Wendy. Wore it proudly. These girls that we ride with now didn't ride with Wendy. So it becomes more about just what she represented, I think.
It was really neat to go on the ride and see how much of an impact the group can have on people and how it's kept people coming back together. You showing up and riding with people can turn into this huge friendship that lasts. So that was really inspiring.
I think everybody understands loss, and everybody understands that sometimes a great way to celebrate a person is to do something really joyful.
I know for me personally, that's an absolutely unbelievable experience. I recently had a passing away of a family member in a very short period of time, so that was a very emotional day for me.
They identify either through a personal experience or family member or friend that maybe has gone through something similar, and just a reminder of how important it is to really appreciate the time that we do have to spend out on the trails. I think she also represented that we all seem to identify with that idea where it's almost like a lifeline. It becomes integral to our person. Mm-hmm. We're not the same person if we're not on our bikes.
Sue?
I'm just going to keep smiling.
After a while, it becomes who you are. It's not, I like to go mountain biking anymore. We ride bikes.
like to get a good workout that night. I don't feel like I'm going to miss out on anything. In fact, it has added so much to my riding.
We started out riding bikes for us. Now on Thursday nights, we ride for Dirt Chix. We're all busy, and we all have complicated lives. If we want to do anything, we need to create a block of time and name it and honor it. We name Thursday nights Dirt Chix Night, and we make that time to ride.